Why are you watching this for? You fucking weirdo.
Because you're being a weirdo. Last time on Basement Discourse, episode 12, Justin has way too much time on his time. Oh, time on his time. Justin has way too much time on his hands and turns completely into a weeb.
I love that he has way too much time on his time.
He has too much time on his time, and I am Brady. I'm your anime guy. We have Jace, he's our gaming and computer dude, and then we have Justin, too much time on his time, like every other D&D enthusiast.
Too much time on my time. Love it.
Yeah,
Man,
I'm gonna keep it in there too. Like I had the chance to cut it and try again, and I was like,
totally do it again.
That stays. That stays for sure. Justin's time on his time.
There'll be that thing where we fuck up and it'll be like the intro. There you go.
Yeah.
Intro. Done.
You intro the intro with
that intro.
Yes. It's gonna happen sometime. I'm waiting for like a proper blooper reel of intros, but you guys keep nailing it, and I'm like, damn it.
We're just really good at it. Like stupid good.
I think my trick is that even when I screw up, I just do it with confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. If you own something with like enough confidence, then people will just think it's the right thing. They'll be like, oh, he meant to do that. That was intentional.
Yeah, there's no way you can go outside with a head like this without a lot of confidence going on. You know,
Same
confidence
here.
or bravado? Because there's a line.
Porque no les dos.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, Basement Dwellers, thank you for coming back for another episode. This is officially past a dozen. Last episode was 12, so there we go.
Well, unless we're talking, Baker's dozen.
We're a Baker's dozen officially now, and I partially feel sorry for you, but I'm incredibly grateful to you all. I just want to let you guys know we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have a Discord. Obviously, you're watching this on YouTube, so you can see our beautiful faces. But if you're in the car, you can listen to us on Apple and Spotify. We would appreciate you guys checking all of those out because we do actually run them and we reply to you as fast as we can.
At the same time.
Well, except Justin. Justin doesn't reply to anyone.
Justin's a little bit useless, but us two, we're pretty quick to get back to you guys, and we'll say who it is. You'll usually know if they're being an asshole to you, they're probably Jace, and if they're too kind, they're probably me.
Justin's just got a really busy life, you know, constantly shampooing his hair and whatnot.
It takes a lot of effort to get that amount of shine.
That's why I don't have any. Too much love.
Yeah, he over shampooed. This is what happens, kids.
He took too much care of it. Speaking of things that didn't get enough care, though, what about things that needed sequels? That's what I want to talk about this week.
I would like to point out how fucking crisp that segue was.
That was on point, dude.
It ruins it when you tell about it, though.
No, it doesn't.
No, it makes it so much better because then, like, everyone just stop what you're doing, rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
You can step back out, just rewind a little, and then just listen to that bit again because that was awesome.
Pull out the YouTube VHS and go again.
Yeah, take it out, rewind, put it back in.
Rewind.
Wascal wabbits.
I get one good segue and then I get to fuck everything else up. Yeah, one of you guys take it though. What is something that needed a sequel that didn't get one? Or I mean, I guess you could do the negative. Something that shouldn't have got a sequel. Justin's like, I'm sitting on five editions of D&D here.
Yeah. I don't need another one. I'm happy with 5. Fuck 1. I'm happy with 5. It's good. I don't think they need to keep going, and I think they will. And I think that's going to be not great, but just putting that out there. I'm happy with 5.
Dumb it down more and more.
I think expansions for D&D are fine.
Yeah.
If they're
all good.
Expand. Like
the problem is they keep doing it, like, and it's just so much content coming out. So it's like almost the opposite of what you want. Like, you know, like you cannot keep up with the amount of books you would need to purchase if you wanted to get the entire thing. Like, holy crap! Like, there's easily over 30 books now to like pile all together, and they're $50 each Australian. I don't know what they are in the rest of the world, but it's roughly the same everywhere.
Probably double. We're not exactly winning right now.
So yeah, it's just ridiculous. But what I was going to say though is Manhunt. Did that ever have a sequel?
I was talking about this the other day. Like I made a TikTok where the question was, what's the greatest game ever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Regardless, someone commented and they were like Manhunt. And I was like, fuck, that game should have got. Well, it did get a sequel. There was Manhunt 2.
I thought so.
Manhunt 2 was.
Yeah, 03 is Manhunt, 07 is Manhunt 2.
Yeah, but it wasn't like.
Manhunt 2 was heavily censored and never came out in Australia.
Still didn't come out in Australia, even with the heavily censor. So
The
Manhunt
actual art
1.
is censored. The
Yeah.
fucking cover art is like, it looks like a VHS tape.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's intentional. That is part of the gameplay.
Like half of it looks like it's filmed with like security cameras, I think was the intention.
Yeah, it's pretty well done. And for its time, it was like, I mean, obviously brutal, but just kind of cool. Like it just had this dark sort of feel to it. And like, I don't know. I walked into like Harvey Norman or some random store and picked it up for like $50 just the day before it got banned. And I was like, I've never heard of this because,
in Australia they pulled it off the shelves
pulled
within
off shelves,
a few days.
man. It was ruthless. And it just happened that in those couple of days that it was on the shelf, I just picked it up. I had no knowledge of it prior to, because this is 2003. So you didn't really sit on YouTube listening to reviews and, doing the thing that we do now, like surfing Facebook. Like this was way before all of that.
I kind of did, but I was a bit of a weirdo.
So you knew about it before it came out, or?
Yeah, so I did, yeah. Because I used to troll like GameSpot, which is like IGN now.
Yeah.
And it used to have like all the upcoming games and stuff. And I would watch that because I was a broke ass kid and I was like, well, what can I ask Uncle Torrance for today?
Bro, I used to go into like the fucking the news agents and I'd like go through the Xbox or the PlayStation magazine and then like anything interesting, I'd take a photo of it.
Or does today's kids miss
out?
Oh
yeah,
dude,
it's still a thing. It's definitely
cool.
still a thing, but I have no idea why they're printing it anymore. Like, what's the point?
So I remember it from other mediums though, right? Like I remember I was an anime fan, so K-Zone.
Oh yeah.
Like Kid Zone. Because they printed what was coming up in stuff that hadn't been aired yet, because somehow they got access to Japanese versions of stuff. And then there was like skating mags.
Oh yeah.
I used occasional DVD.
Dude, I don't know about Justin, but I used to get all the like rollerblading mags, which was like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing.
Like,
I missed out on it.
There was a thing called like B-Mag, which was a European rollerblading mag. You'd have to go to about 30 different news agents before you'd find
even
one.
The magazine knows it's a fucking B grade.
It's B-E, you fucking towel.
Wow.
Sorry. I forget that not all rollerbladers are just the filmographers for skaters.
Yeah, we're busy, actually making shit look good.
I'm not even mad. Just gonna make one hell of a special. I want to give some context for listeners who haven't heard of Manhunt real quick. I'm gonna play Man in the Chair. Manhunt is a stealth-based survival horror video game series developed by Rockstar North,
which are the ones who did the 3D GTA series. So for those who don't know, it's the guys who did the first 3D series.
A little bit more context to the banning. Manhunt is subject to significant video game controversy due to the level of graphic violence.
Yeah, it was brutal
banned in several countries and was implicated in a murder in the UK media.
They love doing that. They love doing that. Immediately blaming a game.
I want to
like wrongdoings. Like, oh, I mean, I strangled him with a garbage bag, kind of like on that game Manhunt. Like, I think that's why I did it. Actually, yeah, that's right. This Manhunt did it.
Your voice is so good for that. No, I do think it is. I think we're past it, right? Like, hopefully, like we are now at the point.
We are definitely not.
Although. We're not, because we had this talk about anime a few bits back where we were talking about how we had the discussion. It went to court. They had psychologists and they went, you know what? Driving like a fuckwit in a game doesn't mean you drive like a fuckwit in the world. Murdering people in a game doesn't make you a murderer. And the same with the anime stuff. Being attracted to wide-eyed, probably too short for their age, 400-year-old vampire girls doesn't make you a fucking weirdo in real life. Probably a little weird to be around. Doesn't mean you're likely to do a crime. But I think
it's a hard argument. It's a hard argument.
But back in 2003,
yeah.
I can see why it was still on the shelf.
So the first item you pick up as a weapon is a plastic bag followed by like a shard of glass.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
as you sneak up
that
behind
should have
someone,
at least had a rating.
Oh, it did.
See,
I think it was MA, strangely.
Yeah, so that was the problem. Is in Australia we had a thing where there were ratings reviews based on the critique or input of people of influence. So it was originally reviewed, considered MA15 because we didn't have an 18 rating at the time, released, and then a politician or someone was like, I don't think that's right, sent it back. And because the review board is never the same people, the review board are like, whoa, nope, this is R18, it's getting off the shelf. And like, don't get me wrong, I totally agree. It is definitely.
I agree. 18,
oh, for sure.
Like,
there is one.
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely exposed to movies when I was younger where I was like, okay, maybe we need a middle ground rating here. Maybe like 15 with an audience is okay. Maybe we need something between 15 and 18. But regardless, if the first weapon you're picking up is a plastic bag to kill people, that's probably 18.
And the best part is like, not only did you pick up the plastic bag, but the longer you held so you'd be sneaking up behind someone, you'd have a certain amount of time to do it.
That's
18. So you got a certain amount of time to sneak up behind this person before they turn around, right? And the longer you hold down the attack button, the darker the attack gets. So you start on green and he just sort of quickly suffocates the guy. You go to yellow and he kind of like suffocates violently. You go to red and he suffocates, then he turns them around so he can stare into their eyes through the plastic bag as they take their last breath. Like it's
and so we
aren't awesome.
monetized, but we just got demonetized.
There's some savage stuff in it. Like there with the glass shard, when you do like the red attack, he literally just stabs them in the face.
Just
with
goes
a shard
for
of
the
glass.
face.
It's insane the amount of graphic like.
So,
nowadays, we'd probably watch it and be like, "Oh, that looks awful," but it was.
But for little old 15-year-old me, I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah,
and so it was really intense, but it was actually a pretty cool game because
it was sick. Yeah, it was really cool.
It was survival horror in the sense of like Resident Evil, Alone in the Dark, stuff like that. However, you're the big bad killer guy, not them. Like the other people can theoretically kill you and attack you and stuff. They are the bad guys, but you are the evil. Like you're.
Yeah, I think that might have a bit more to do with the banning and the pulling off the shelves.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, all of those things, but
like there's a lot into it because like we didn't have an R18 rating, which is why a lot of stuff would get pulled from our shelves.
Exactly, we didn't get the R18 for
like
a little while after that.
And even with the R18 rating, there is some weird stuff. Like, have you guys heard much about the game Hotline Miami? So got a lot of love for that game. But it's basically a top-down shooter, super graphic, but it's all pixel art. So you don't really see anything, but there's stuff like
wait, hang on, like pixel art, like Minecraft.
No. Pixel art like Final Fantasy VI, Terraria, another good example.
Yeah.
Or even Super Meat Boy, which everyone who's totally seen my latest codex, they'd know.
Like even a Pokemon game at that stage, right?
Like early Pokemon games.
Yeah. That's pixel art.
Yeah. So it's done in that, but it's also top down over the level.
Like Grand Theft Auto, right?
Like the original Grand Theft Autos. That sort of aspect.
The OGs, yeah.
And so it's like that, but like it is quite graphic. Like if you knock someone over by running through a door, you can actually grab the door and just smash their head and you just see blood spray out. It's all pixel art, but it's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
However, in the second game, there is a scene at the start that depicts sexual assault, shall we say. You don't technically interact with it, and it is part of a movie. Like it's being shot as a movie in the intro sequence because your character's an actor. And that's part of the scene. Right. Because of that few moments of pixel art, it's completely banned, R18 or not, because sexual violence is outside our ratings, which sort of seems fair, but
I'm an anime fan. This is I'm glad there's another medium that this is happening in Australia where we're not like, okay, look, it is dark, definitely just needs a good rating system on it. And instead we're like, nope, get it out. And I'm like, what? Okay, don't get me wrong. Makes me uncomfortable as fuck, but that's the purpose of it. It's a story point. Like it's not supposed to be enjoyable. Like it's supposed to make you go, all right, these people are pieces
These guys
of
are the
shit.
bad guys. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like if it was overly consistent in every story, I'd drop that story. I'd be like, no, you can fuck off. I've dropped shows for doing it in episode 1 because I'm like, nope, not about this.
100%.
As long as there's a rating on it and it's not a consistent theme, if it's there as like a well-written plot point, I'm not going to say I'm for it because that sounds weird as fuck, but I'm not against it when it's done properly.
Yeah, well, like, think about movies, right? Like, there are plenty of movies that depict that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of that one where they're in the woods, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there is a scene in that where, and it kind of builds up the bad guys. Welcome
to the D&D expert talking about rape in the woods.
Oh yeah. That's so it literally goes for like 5-10 minute long scene of this poor girl just being raped in the woods, and then she sort of
is this like
manages to escape
like the hills
and
have
stumbles.
eyes or something?
No, but yeah, there is some weird shit in those films too. But like this one is just all about this scene, and then it's like,
oh wait,
finally gets back, and the parents are like, right, let's destroy these guys that could probably kill us in an instant, and then go about exacting their revenge for their daughter's sake.
Wait, is that so that sounds similar to the plot of I Spit on Your Grave.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. And they end up like microwaving
this is a very deliberate genre that is rated 18.
Kind of like
you're
rooting for that guy, you know, like you're rooting for the good guys because you're like, the worst thing has happened to this chick, and the parents know about it. The chick knows about it. Like everyone knows.
Yeah,
and it's just horrible.
But I mean, that's what we're saying. That was an 18 movie.
Yeah, and I think as long as it's contextually relevant, then I don't see an issue with it in games or any other media.
Yeah.
It just has to be relevant. Like,
yeah.
But if we take that back a bit, Manhunt, I totally think deserves a sequel.
Yeah, and I'm not talking. Sequel. I don't want a fucking remake because I've played the shit out of that game. I already know it in my head. Still,
Buckley's, man. I think if they go back to the franchise, it's gonna be a remake.
Yeah, I know.
That's the modern thing, isn't it?
It is. It's the whole thing they keep doing, but like, just an actual sequel would be sick.
Funnily enough, my suggestion, which I actually wrote down in our document about this, is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah.
Now I would love to see sequels to this. However, apparently either this year or next year, we are getting a remake of the first one, ground up remake, which is brilliant.
Cool.
But that first game came out in about 2004, I want to say, and it was made by BioWare, so you know that shit is RPG goods. The sequel was made by Obsidian, which was the company that spawned from the people who did the original Fallout games. They were also the same company that did Fallout New Vegas. So it's like RPG legendariness in a Star Wars game. And so those two games are absolutely brilliant. Now, technically, that series does still have a floating game because of the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO, but fuck MMOs. Fuck them all to hell.
Yeah, you've said
you heard it right here, Basement Dwellers. MMOs?
No. I gave it a crack. I did, but you just...
But I think we're all like three people in agreement, though. I can't remember Justin's opinion, but my MMO experience has been just woeful. Like...
I think it depends on the experience, I guess. You know, I sank
fucking nice human.
I sank over 6 months of like playtime into World of Warcraft back in the day, but a lot of it wasn't playing. It was, you know, just talking to people that I'd met and friends that I'd made along the way.
I also feel like Warcraft might be like, it's a bit more friendly, geared toward being an MMO, whereas most MMOs these days are not. They're just.
I mean, it's very well marketed and very clever. In its,
but they do that like what you were saying. They create like a social environment, whereas other ones are just like literally verse each other. But hang on, did you start a month later than someone else? You're about to get wrecked.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of contingencies with modern ones that stop a lot of these problems. Basically, any MMO that's been going for a while, like the Old Republic, World of Warcraft, stuff like that, even Elder Scrolls Online now, they have made a lot of changes to make sure that it is approachable by new users.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the greatest part about the Knights of the Old Republic games is it's brilliant role-playing. Your choices seem to actually make a difference, at least in the core elements of the game. And you end up like really building an attachment to those around you, like your companions and stuff. Whereas that just doesn't quite translate in the Old Republic because it's an MMO. And it's hard to get super invested in an MMO like that. Like in the story side of things, as much as they've tried.
Grind. Yeah, it's more the grind. Like I never got invested in the WoW story at all. And I was in like OG times, like back when it was just a World of Warcraft. So I didn't even pay attention to the story back then. Now, who the hell knows?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I think Knights of the Old Republic deserves a proper sequel. Like, just give me more Old Republic RPG goods.
Look, they might be setting it up though. Like, like people, they have come out with these sort of things, they bring out the remaster to get the hype up for the next one. Yeah, they're doing all that work, rebuilding a game. They're going to have a lot of assets ready to reuse.
Even like a game like Kingdom Hearts did stuff like that as well, right? Like they did remakes of their old ones, and then they did a bit. That's a specific situation though, I guess, because they had like a 15-year wait between 2 and 3 or something like that. But
yeah, it was a while.
They still did that, and then they released them as like you can collect 1, 1.5, and 2 on one disc, and then you can get 2, 2.5, and 3 on one disc or something like that. But
pretty cool.
It's still not that uncommon to see a similar theme where they remaster the OG and then do a sequel. It's possible. True. I mean, this is predictions at this point, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's pretty. That I would like to see more of. I'd also possibly like to see more Max Payne, which is weird.
Oh, yeah. I'm down for Max Payne for sure. Because those games were sick.
The games are absolutely brilliant. I do kind of feel like Max's story specifically probably needs to either end or go back to like a prequel.
Yeah.
Because
does it really need more? I mean, they had 3.
They did. And the third game was still cool, even though it was a step away from what the previous ones were.
Yeah, I agree.
But they were so damn good. They were revolutionary. And like, there just has not been a game to fill my like film noir itch. Like, just the way that like you get halfway through a section, then you hear his like graveled narration over the top.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And the foreboding of like little advertisements on a TV that he walks past and stuff like that. Like there was just so much that made those games magical. Yeah. And I want that again. Gimme.
Let's go.
What about you, Brady? Anything you think deserves more?
I mean, there are heaps of anime. I think one I'm super invested in because I finished the anime and then started reading the manga because I wasn't sure because it's been quite a few years is Noragami. Noragami feels like if Bleach decided to be super more Japanese Shinto routed.
I have no idea what the hell you just said.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, sorry. So Shinto is I'm going to upset at least 3 people with this, but
great, all of our listeners.
Yeah. So it's the name they give to the like traditional Japanese religions.
Japanese.
Oh, we should
Japanese and Nepalese people mixed together.
Japanese religions, but they're not considered connected to one another, despite some of the things being in common, like the Torii gates and the way they decide to worship and stuff. So like you'll have a Shinto god of one of the most famous ones, one of my favorite, is Inari. So Inari is the fox goddess of rice and commerce. So she's technically a god of business, and she's in charge of foxes, which is kind of cool.
Capitalism and rice. Disgusting.
Yeah, and then it was like, rice was one of Japan's early commerce things, so she became the god of business. But like initially, she was also a big protector of women in like the old days. So Shintoism or Shinto religion is like Japanese gods before the interruption of Christianity and Zen Buddhism, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
So Noragami is kind of like Bleach with that element being really strong.
Okay.
So instead of following Shinigami, which by the way, the Soul Reapers is the English translation. In Japanese, they're called Shinigami, just means gods of death, which you'll know if you've watched Death Note.
Yeah. So I thought that was weird because like I watched the dub versions of Bleach, but the first copy that I got of Bleach, the episodes clearly say, you know, I don't know, Ichigo meets Shinigami or whatever.
Yeah,
and
so
it's like,
Shinigami is god of death, and then for whatever reason, whoever dubbed it decided to translate it to Soul Reaper, and that stuck really well with people, but that's what
I say Shinigami's a way better term.
Right.
It is, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, so imagine they're all gods, and instead of fighting creatures that are souls that refuse to move on and got mutated, fuck, I can't words today, and they got mutated as a result. Instead, the creatures they fight are birthed from negative human emotion. So like depression and anxiety create these creatures, and then they thrive off it, and then they influence people based on it. So like this creature comes out of someone's anxiety and then gets on top of them and encourages them to be more anxious and to do more horrible things birthed from anxiety.
That's kind of interesting, but I swear I've heard of or seen something like that.
Yeah, so Noragami, like it's probably not that original, but it got 2 seasons. And the other cool thing was, so it's gods who do the fighting instead of Bleach has like their whole thing with Soul Reapers. Yeah. And gods are born from the wishes of humans. And our main protagonist was actually wished upon by someone who wanted a god of calamity. So one who would cause a lot of harm and cause wars, but he doesn't want to do that. So they make this like fun joke anime thing where he's a god for hire for anything. So he's like scrubbing bathrooms and shit. Oh, and then every now and again he has to take out one of these like horrible evil spirits, and then the weapons they use, similar to Bleach, have a soul, but the souls that their weapons are based on are humans who died.
Oh, cool.
So Noragami, very fucking cool. All the feels, the animation studio is amazing. Did 2 seasons, stopped.
Okay, now this is just for me, but did it stop like at an okay place that you could like? Was it a cliffhanger ending, or was it like
it stops at a point where you can go, okay, that's all I get, but it doesn't stop at a point where you have any answers to the story.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So shoot me that name after this, because I kind of want to get amongst that.
Yeah, Noragami, really cool. It's quite funny at times. It's very emotional, and it's animated very well. So that's always a bonus. A couple times they reuse the scene in like an old school... Sailor Moon's the example that comes to fucking mind, but there's other animes that have done it where they do the reused scene. So I say Sailor Moon because they transform, but you can even think of like Power Rangers.
Oh yeah,
like anything, but he does it with a particular attack. They do that for like half a season 1, then they scrap it and then everything's original, which is good. But like, just a fair warning if you're getting into it. But Noragami deserves an ending, 100%. I've been reading the manga to get that ending because I need it. and they have enough material to at least do another 2 seasons, and they haven't done it yet. So I don't know what's going to happen. The other one, I'm not alone in this. Any of our otaku, weeb, anime fans who are following along with this, who've ever seen Dead Man Wonderland, and you two have definitely never heard of that, but Jace, you've been to conventions, yeah?
Yeah.
Ever seen a girl in like mostly white with like some red stripes on her with a with like almost target type things on the shoulder?
Possibly.
It's a really popular cosplay.
That's a really obscure thing to ask someone.
It sounds like it, but it's a really popular
like
cosplay. Like if you just jump on Google though and you type like anime albino cosplay, guarantee most of the girls are going to be this. So Dead Man Wonderland is a cool show where a dude randomly gets the ability to manipulate his blood into a weapon. So our main character gets to use it as a bullet, but other characters create like a scythe out of their blood or something else. But they get a limit on how long they can fight because obviously blood loss.
That just sounds hilarious. Like, and then you're like, fuck, dead.
Yeah, 100%. But the show only got 1 season. And it's a monstrously popular cosplay for a reason. Like, everybody wants answers. The whole show was basically a mystery show. You didn't know why the bad guy showed up in episode 1 like they did, why our main character has powers, why his friend, as it turns out near the end, is somewhat linked to some of the darker sides of the show. And you're like, wait, what? Dead Man Wonderland, I don't think I'm alone in this. Any of our anime fans watching will want more. And I think you guys, if you hack into it, you'll be like, a season leaves you disgustingly unsatisfied. But anime has
I kind of don't want to now if I know I'm going to be unsatisfied.
Yeah, if I know it's never going to come back.
Cool because that
great.
rhyme
Good.
is awesome.
Yeah.
But speaking
of... Wonder Guys...
Oh,
sorry.
On. No, you go.
I think that's probably a good time to take a piss.
Are you tired of workout equipment in your gym? Is 50 degrees Celsius too cold? Well, come on down to Furnace First. We've got hot yoga, boiling pools, and saunas for when your sauna needs a sauna. Ever tried bench pressing actual fire while on a furnace? The hottest gym in the West, Furnace First.
Basement Dwellers, thank you for waiting us out through that absolutely, totally real sponsor.
That we definitely have planned.
Cut back to Mr. Jace, who I interrupted just before the break, to continue on the not tangent at all.
The actual topic at hand for once.
The topic at hand of things that deserve sequels or not.
Okay, so we're going back to anime because it's been a good 3.5 seconds since we spoke about it. But Toradora. Now, for those... Brady, you haven't even watched it.
Slice of Life.
Yeah.
How can a slice of life need a sequel?
So it doesn't necessarily need a sequel. It needs, like, at most, like, 1 or 2 episodes. Because it ends, like... So basically, it's, for lack of a better word, it's a love story sort of thing. But, like, right at the end, the two, like, protagonists run off with each other, and then they realize that that's a terrible idea because they're still high school students, and they really should at least finish high school and be normal people for a little bit. And then one of them goes back to high school and the other one doesn't. And then, like, at the last bit of the last episode, you see the other one show up and then end. That's it. So
how many episodes is Toradora?
24 or 25?
I'm going to make it my almost probably life-defeating mission, because I never did the thing early on where we said watch or enjoy or get into something you don't like. I'm going to watch it before the next episode that we record.
So we're not recording for like 6 months now.
Yeah. No, it's I can do 20-something episodes in a week. It just means I won't be sleeping much, but that's fine. I'm going to do it, and then I want to give feedback on whether I think it deserves more. I'm not against rom-com-y type animes. It's just that I find slice of life if it's not incredibly well written, just blank. Like Your Name, A Silent Voice, Weathering with You. Yes, there was some supernatural elements in some of them, but they were still slice of life. You can't tell me otherwise. They were.
They're also movies.
Yeah. You just named all the movies. Like, just commit and watch a fucking show.
You know why? Because an hour and a half of a romantic anime is about all I can do.
He says as the guy that actually celebrates Valentine's Day.
We're not supposed to date the episodes, Jace.
I'm not dating no one.
I'm the only one here who is, technically.
Yeah. Wow. What a loser. But like slice of life, it's not so much the genre that I'm into. It has to be like, it's like anything with anime. Because I'm not like this super fanatic that just wants to watch all the anime, it has to be something that clicks with me. And the reason I like Toradora is because the main character is a weirdo that everyone thinks has a really angry face. And so people don't like to talk to him much and stuff like that, which, you know, with a head like this, kind of relate. But also the other protagonist is sort of someone that everyone's a bit scared of because she's an absolute fucking weirdo. And so stuff like that vibes with me because it's different. If it's just like, I've tried with a lot of other slice of life stuff and it's just school kids. But there's something unique about this, and that's what I like about it. Don't expect amazing writing or anything, but
no, winter 2021 season apparently has quite a few romantic slice of lives that are apparently very good. But I'm gonna watch Toradora, and then I'll get back to whether I agree with you on the need for either a sequel or more.
Yeah. So just remember, I'm not looking for a second season. Just literally like an episode.
You just need
a bit of closure.
Yes.
So like the movie that they usually
closure.
Comes out after.
No. If you're chasing closure as an anime fan, you got bucklers. Fucking hell. There are so many. Claire found out. So my partner, who is just way too nice, and I'm not just saying that because it's Valentine's Day, because Jace.
Oh, stop dating the episode, bro.
Yeah. She is way too nice, but when we started dating, she has progressively been working her way through anime that she thought was approachable because for some reason she didn't want to listen to what I want because I'm a dark motherfucker, and she wanted to watch Ghibli films because that's what some people decide to go with. And she was like, why did they just like end? Like the story didn't conclude. Nothing finished. And that's not even true for just Ghibli. Technically Your Name and Weathering with You kind of did the same. They just like stop.
But they stopped at a point that
yeah, but they
Your
still
Name
Your Name was fine because you got the follow-up in Weathering with You, and also you could accept it up to yourself.
But so it gives at least enough of it gives a sort of like a
satisfied feeling.
I was going to say, Justin, you've watched it as of last ep. You talked about it. Yeah. How'd you feel?
It gives you that satisfied feeling, like I'm happy.
Yeah, it's fine.
So,
but nevertheless, there are a lot of anime movies and anime shows that don't do that. Like they just. Her point was like, that's not an ending. It just stopped. And I'm like, I'm curious what that's common in anime.
Thoughts are with Ghibli, because I've seen a fair few of their movies. Yeah. Which ones don't end well? Because like I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, so the more popular ones that make it to the West do end. So like Spirited Away, Ponyo, My Neighbor Totoro, all of those I think end quite well. My Neighbor Totoro, it's stupidly popular, but I just felt like the entire movie was a very drawn out kid story. Someone reading to their child before bed. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I really like the setting, like that rural Japan. Like, I think is fucking cool. But have you seen any Ghibli stuff, Justin?
No, not at all.
That makes sense.
I've seen it pop up like way before we were even a thing, and I was like, nope. So
Spirited Away is probably worth checking out.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's super weird and kooky, but yeah, that's probably where I'd start if you do want to hit any of that up. But
I mean, Howl's Moving Castle.
Also another good example, yeah.
Some epic artwork at the very least.
Mm.
But yeah, there are a lot of anime, a lot of storylines that just don't finish in terms of they don't wrap things up in a neat pile for you to go, glad I got all of that. I'll move away from it.
So they're like the MMO RPGs of all TV.
Yeah.
They can be at times, yeah. Or they do the exact opposite, like they could do the Tokyo Ghoul approach where if they had have ended at season 2, it would have been immaculate. Like the ending was sort of open, but then...
No, so the problem is, Jace, you're not a manga reader.
No, I don't care. No.
No, but the story itself. The story itself. So season 2, which is called Route A, is not even prevalent in the manga at all. So the storyline had a completely different version of what season 2 is. However, I will say this, for all the people who, because I do this myself sometimes where I'm like, the manga was better, but in Tokyo Ghouls, there was some better story development in the manga, but where they got to at the end of season 2 and where the manga was in its, where you would call the end of season 2 in its readings, was about the same point in terms of all the same characters were around about at the same spot. So that's okay. But what they did when they animated RE is fine if you lived in Japan and you got the notice saying, don't watch this unless you've read the manga.
Yeah.
Because everyone who watched it in the West was like, what the fuck is happening? I literally watched it week to week, having already read what occurs and being like, oh, that was an all right anime version of like 10 manga editions. And then I had a friend who would call me. She watched it with me every week. Like I would watch it, she'd watch it. And then she'd call me at the end of the episode and be like, hey, can you explain to me these 3 characters because I've never seen them before and what the fuck happened at the end of that episode? That happened for every episode, and Jace is looking like, that's fair enough because...
Yeah, like I watched RE, so I got to the end of RE and I was like, I hated this. I wish they stopped at Route A.
You know what? That would actually be a pretty good topic of its own. Like, what went too far?
Yeah, well, I guess that's like the antithesis of what we started with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Exactly.
But I will say with that particular subject matter, if you had read the source material, RE was kind of fun, but I also felt horrifically disappointed because there was a whole bunch of scenes that were hugely impactful to me when I read them and just really powerful. And then when they animated them, they felt glossed over.
Yeah, but like this is kind of my point is I'm not looking at this as a manga anime type thing. I purely from a perspective of a viewer, that should have ended at season 2. Like they just kept when they went on to RE.
Yes and no. I mean, season 2 finishes with him walking Hyde covered in a sheet. That's not okay. So you need to keep in mind in the manga.
But see, this is my
point.
There's
no way to do this.
Not keeping it in mind. It's not in the manga.
There's no way to do
talking
this
about not
though.
manga.
So there's no, but there's a distinct difference.
So what I'm trying to say is like, okay, so
disregard manga.
Yeah, so think of it like people who've read the Harry Potter books.
But do you think that's a good ending then?
Yes, 100%. It is a fantastic ending. Yes.
Yeah, because you know more than we do, Brady, on this. Because you know that it goes further than that.
I think that's not a good ending. I think that's super inconclusive.
No, I think that's quite a good ending, to be quite frank. Like,
wow. You know what? We need Justin to...
I need to catch up on that too,
yeah. It's only 2 seasons that you need to see.
Yeah, we need you to hack into that. Where
do you find that in the...
Netflix, my friend.
Oh, very nice.
Very
easily accessible.
I don't think they have the 3rd season, but they had the first 2.
That's all right. Because that's the only 2 that count.
Correct.
according to Jace. But I feel like the end of the second, even as an anime-only viewer, would have left me going, no way, I need...
But see, this you're trying to have a perspective that you don't have.
You don't have the
that's
perspective
fair
of
enough,
us.
and that's why I'm saying we need Justin's...
It's like, someone telling you the end of Fight Club and then you only watched 3/4 of it. Like, if you know the end.
Speaking of, by random tangent, recently, and this is not recent anymore because our episodes air late, Fight Club aired in China.
Finally.
Recently.
Yeah.
Were they just blown away?
No, look at the
bunch of
graphics.
heads just exploded when they saw the end.
I want to get the words exactly right, so I'm gonna Google it. But
the words exactly right are released 16 years too late.
No.
Is it 16? No, it's way longer than 16, isn't it?
No idea.
Yeah, but I don't want to exaggerate them. But essentially, what happened was they doctored the ending.
22 years late.
What?
23 years late.
Yeah, because they can't have somebody fighting the establishment and winning, right? So, in the
so when he presses the button, the building he's in blows up.
I'd fucking watch
in
that.
The version,
and then the government come in, they're like, government, don't fuck with us.
Essentially,
no.
On streaming platform, no, I'm not kidding. Decent video. The narrator still kills off Durden. The narrator being Edward Norton,
Jack.
Durden being. But the exploding building scene is replaced with a black scene and coda, so writing. The police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding.
Oh my God.
It adds that Tyler, a figment of the narrator's imagination, was sent to a lunatic asylum. You remember the guy who didn't actually exist? For psychological treatment and then was later discharged.
Okay.
See them carrying away this imaginary dude with cuffs. They're just like, can you point him out to us? Can you point him out to us? Is he just here? Yeah. And Edward Norton's like, no, he's just over there. Oh, okay. Go and hang some handcuffs on the invisible dude.
It makes no sense. And keep in mind,
they just scrape him up. They resuscitate him.
This has just aired in
his fucking
China,
head up.
Heaps of them have watched bootleg versions, have seen the whole version. So a lot of Chinese people who already knew this have watched it and been like, what? At the end, they're the same as us. They're like, that's not how it finished.
They just cause a fucking riot.
Yeah. No, so
that's so rude.
What else? Can you guys think of anything that comes to mind real quick to keep on topic of things that should have got more?
Should have got more.
In terms of sequels.
I only just found out that Fight Club actually has sequels.
Get the fuck
out
of
here. Not movies like there's books.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Also, one of the top things in a search for Fight Club is, what is the message of Fight Club? It's clearly, don't fuck with the police or you'll be arrested with your imaginary friend.
I was going to say, it's clearly, fuck authority, we'll do what we want, and then we still won't win.
Yeah, no, that checks out. But yeah, thinking of things that deserved more.
Oh, bro, Dead Island 2, if it ever comes out, I want that. I've wanted it for a long time, but I don't trust that it's ever coming.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get that.
That ad was sick, though. The trailer for the number 2 when it came out, that was awesome.
But the trailer for the first one was also awesome.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
That does actually make me think now. Deus Ex. I don't know if you guys have ever played it, but basically, it's sort of like Cyberpunk before Cyberpunk. It's sort of in a corporate cyberpunk future where augmented humans exist. So these are people that like hack off your arm and you can put, a bicycle there or something, Yeah.
You just imagine that. You got your arm out and this dude's riding your arm and your body is being dragged behind your arm.
It's perfect.
That's brilliant. I mean, I can't see anything wrong with the idea of putting a bicycle as your arm.
But the sequel game, or they had reboot games, Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. Mankind Divided ended up being super rushed, big crunch, and it was like just kicked out the door by Square Enix. Like, we need to get this to people. And I thought the game was brilliant. It's one of my favorite games I've ever played. Like, it is absolutely magnificent. However, based on how they pushed that out, it sounds a lot like they don't plan on making any more. And it's really sad because the series not only being like sort of cyberpunkish, but you're also like, you aren't like anti-establishment. You're sort of like a detective-y copy type person. Like, you usually work for security companies, and like as in private security. So you're trying to solve mysteries and shit. But the approach to like missions is super open-ended. It's like, go over here, and how you do that's up to you. If you want to like pick up a fridge and throw it through someone's window and just jump in, go for it. If you want to sneak through vents and go all stealth-like, go for it.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, so it's sort of got that Far Cry-ish approach, you know? You've got to go here and do the thing. How you get there and do that, that's up to you. Except there's a lot more dynamics in Deus Ex.
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah,
nice.
that's a series I think deserves another sequel.
That's an awesome one.
Brady, you seem like you've been thinking about something.
Yeah, so we've had rants on our show so far.
No, we haven't. Never.
No.
Jace,
nothing pisses me off.
Hacked into Free Guy.
No, I don't remember that. That was my favorite movie.
Justin hacked into fishing.
I love me some fishing.
Justin, I went fishing last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got mine about anime.
Yeah, anime is
I
yeah.
am so fucking mad about seasons that aren't seasons. So, credit where credit's due, the anime field in Japan hasn't changed since it started. So these poor bastards, they literally have a word for dying at your desk. So their working conditions are horrific, don't get me wrong. But all it takes is better marketing. So Attack on Titan is big for this right now. They do... how much does this sound fucked? The final season, part 1. The final season.
That's like Harry Potter, you know.
So what ends up happening though in these seasons that are split into parts? So from my logic, a season is a story arc split up into a digestible amount.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, no, that's wrong.
But then what they've been doing lately is they've gone, okay, so we have an overall story arc, and then we have our miniature arcs in between. They make up seasons. And then for reasons unknown, we'll animate half of one of those mini arcs and just cut it in the middle. And you can wait 6 months for the rest of it.
That's not unique to anime.
But it's still fucked. So
Breaking Bad
when you
and
see
I
a
think
season
Sons
of something though,
did it.
But
so.
when you watch a season of something,
split for the Vikings,
you expect that the overall thing is occurring throughout the whole thing. But the seasons, they'll do individual arcs that will begin and end.
Yeah, but like I said though,
Breaking Bad very recently been doing like season X, part Y.
There's got to be a reason for it. Like, there's a marketing ploy. There's something there.
I don't think it's a marketing ploy. I think, honestly, anime studios in Japan are literally taking on too much work because they're being pushed to do so. And they're doing, like, Attack on Titan. At the same time, they're doing 2 other shows. So they can't get them all out. Because they're still working with their model where they used to put out 2 shows a year. And now they're putting out multiple shows every single season, and there's 4 seasons a year, so they're trying to like do the best they can. And some of these shows, like, I mean, so Attack on Titan is done by MAPPA, who are going to do Chainsaw Man, which we spoke about in the previous episode, as the manga kind of disappointing me, but the trailer still being epic as fuck. Like, you guys both watched it. It looks
it looks sick,
exceptional. They're amazing animators. And then Ufotable, I think is how you say it. Even it's not even a Japanese word, so it's really bizarre. But they do Demon Slayer, and they have previously done Sword Art Online. But their animation quality is outrageous. but they do the same thing. They're doing these like season 3 part 1.
So there is actually a reason why they do it, at least in the West. And so I haven't seen any anime that has 2-part seasons yet, so I don't know if it's the same thing. But in the West, they do it when, okay, so let's take Breaking Bad, for example, right? They know that the story has to get to point B. They've only got one story arc left to go, but that story arc is not... So in Western modern TV, everything is 10 episodes per season, and it's roughly 45 minutes to an hour per episode. If they end up running over 10 episodes, they have to make a second season. And so they end up splitting that story arc into 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and that's what they did.
I don't know if that's such a thing in anime, though.
So it's like as soon as you go past that, you need to make another season. So like they might have just had that little bit too much content, and they're like, well, now
maybe. I don't know if that's as relevant in anime, though, because they deal with...
Anime is starting to follow more Western season rules. Like
they are, but they also generally come from light novels or mangas where they know what's coming, so they could plan for it. And then in terms of like Attack on Titan, for example,
split into 2. You get 2 sellable things instead of 1. You know what I mean? Like people would have definitely went and seen
now, like,
the last episode of Twilight at the cinema, and then they would have definitely seen the second part. Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. You don't just watch the first one.
Possible,
so then
but
you're
those
locked
also
in.
Those are slightly different though. So I feel like the difference is there because I've read both of those, which
you read Twilight. What a loser.
But anyway, I realized what that was doing to me immediately. But I've read both of those, and those source materials were far bigger than their previous parts. So it made sense to not try and do them in the same amount of time. Do you know if the source
materials for Attack on Titan are bigger in this part?
They're not necessarily bigger, but they're the same size, and they've decided to cut it up.
I don't mean like amount of pages. I mean like content. Like, are they introducing?
Yeah, no, it's the same as the previous parts, but they've decided to. So okay, so this is my prediction. That is unfortunately because of the way we record ahead of time, which is the best thing that we do for ourselves.
Just release the episode right now.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan.
We're going live.
My hard prediction, which is going to come out to all of our listeners late, but you two will hear it, will probably finish in a movie.
As in, like it'll be like season.
So we are currently on
season blah part 2.
So like 6 months ago, I think now we did the final season, part 1, which is season 4, and we are currently running the final season. But I'm damn sure, having read the manga and how quick they're blasting through it and the way they've said there's only going to be X amount of episodes, I'm sure they're going to cut it and go, that's it. Come watch the movie in a couple months. I'm just, it's a prediction. I could be wrong because this will date and we'll know. But I'm just saying, I'm predicting that. But I thoroughly like I don't like that anime is doing this right now, that we have season blah 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 part whatever.
I could
so
see
annoying.
why it is
like,
annoying.
A season should be it doesn't have to end the overall story because you want that to go for a while, but it should have a written and sensible beginning and end to the arc, right? Like, so Demon Slayer, as much shit as it gets for being somewhat generic, does this really well. It did a season 1 quite well, and then it did a movie, and then for some reason decided to make that into episodes if you hadn't watched the movie. But regardless, its seasons do follow a natural beginning and conclusion to their arcs in a very good way.
So there's 2 ways I feel about this. So as someone who's currently watching through Bleach, and because I have digital copies of Bleach, I had to figure out how many episodes are in each season.
Yeah.
There is one season that has like 50 episodes or something. You right there, buddy? Good, you can see him. So there's one season that's like 50 episodes. that would be way better if you split that shit in the middle, regardless of if there's an overarching story. Like pacing that is a lot like, and it's also better.
I think with Bleach though, it's not new, and the season you're up to is like, it was probably done in 2002.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand that it's older, and I know that Dragon Ball did this as well with how its seasons worked. Some seasons are like, here's 3 episodes, have fun. The next is like, here's 70. Yeah. There must be something going on that front.
It's all good. I'll let you. I don't want to have to deal with that again. Like, you can. It's all good. I'd rather wait than, because we're near the end. I'd rather wait and get it good than. It's good, man. We all have these things that don't stress. Like the majority of the first episodes, my cat kept jumping on the table. Like it's fine.
He thinks the sun outside, so he's running out. All right. So when it comes to like some of the older animes, especially like DBZ, or even DB, Bleach, stuff like that, their seasons are so all over the shop. I think one of the last seasons of Bleach is like 8 episodes. And then there's one season in the middle that's like 50, things like that. So I understand there's filler arcs and all sorts of stuff. Fair enough. But you know what? If you could say to me, okay, we've got 30 seasons of Bleach, season 7's a 2-parter, and they're all 10, 15, 24 episodes, whatever, a consistent range, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah, and that's only possible in, retrospective. It's not possible as you do it.
But that's exactly the same when they're creating this stuff. And that could be why they're splitting things up, is because they've got a production cycle.
Yeah,
and
but don't call it season 1 part. Like, don't call it season 4, or especially don't call it final season, and then get X amount of episodes in, which I think was 12, and then go, oh yeah, see you in 6 months.
Oh, okay. So based on how you said that, you said it was, final season part 1 from the get-go. If it was like that.
No, they didn't advertise it like that. They called it final season. And as I was watching, I was like, because I've read it. I was like, is this going to be like 50 episodes? Like, that's weird.
And
then they just cut it.
Happened,
and
obviously.
I was like,
they've just
what?
They've just hit a fucking wall. Like, they've hit the world wall right there. You know what I mean? Like, shit's going down, and they're just like, well,
every human who's watched Attack on Titan and heard you say they've hit the wall has just
that just reminds me of episode 1.
Yeah. Like, so you've seen episode 1, and that's all you've seen. I even
know what you guys are talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. They've just like literally shit bricks.
But
I think it sounds like they just ran into some fucking trouble along the road.
That's possible. Like, maybe because like animation isn't quick and easy to do, maybe they were like, okay, we've done the base drawing, we've got to animate this shit, we need more time, and so they split.
Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like parts in seasons is the most annoying thing in anime right now.
I could go one further, and this is probably going to make you angry. The thing that annoys me is when they turn a fucking movie into a series. Dragon Ball,
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
Fuck me. Like the
Dragon Ball Super.
Yes.
Yeah. So the entire first 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, first 2. So we get Battle of Gods is series 1 in Dragon Ball Super, but it was also a movie.
Yep.
And that one, in fairness, the first one got absolutely destroyed by everybody, including the creator.
Yeah, but
Akira Toriyama was so disappointed with what happened. But if you're the animators, and I don't say that what they did was okay, but if you've seen these people with these huge budgets make a movie out of this, and then you're like, do the same storyline, but with a reduced budget and like make half an hour bites of it, like, it's not going to be as good.
Yeah,
what they did was disgusting, Don't get me wrong.
My problem is that, like, if I get into something, I want to enjoy all the content. But, like, so I'm really on the fence at the moment, like, about Mugen Train with Demon Slayer. Because I've seen season 1. Well, I've already seen...
No.
I've already... So this is my thing, though, is I want to watch all of it because I enjoy Demon Slayer. And because I binge seasons, so I haven't watched the second season. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch Mugen Train. I've watched that now. Now when I go to binge the second season, I'm like, oh, well, I've sort of seen this, but now there's a little bit of extra content. So now I pretty much have... But
no. Okay, so for our fans and for Jace...
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Fuck this.
Episode 1 of season 2 of Demon Slayer is OG content. It's not in the movie. It's not in anything. Episode 1 of season 2 is straight new stuff. The rest of it is Mugen Train split into 22-minute parts.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Until the end of the Mugen Train arc, and there's the Entertainment District arc.
Yeah, and like, yeah, that's fine, except that, like, why do I want is it exactly scene for scene Mugen Train, but they've just cut it up?
It is.
Or is
I
like ever so
so
slightly longer?
Skip from like episode 2 through to like whatever.
I watched it to make sure because I felt like, oh, maybe they did something different, because I know even with Dragon Ball Super, even though the animation wasn't as good, there was a little bit of extra content in it. In the first 2 seasons there, especially with, if you were like me leading into the second movie, Resurrection of F, you were like, where the fuck did they get Super Saiyan Blue from? And then in the show, they actually showed them training towards it, which was...
Yeah,
it was still rushed as fuck, but it was better than what happened in the movies. But that's not what goes on in Demon Slayer. They are literally cutting up the movie into episode length.
But
that's
bits.
weird.
It's only episode 1, and then that's it.
So even still, though, that's fucking annoying. Just either give me fucking seasons or give me movies. I don't give a shit. Just don't.
I'm not quite sure why they did it, to be honest, because some people are happy about it. I just don't.
Yeah, those people are stupid.
With you. I'm with you. I think the thing is that some people won't see the movie. And look, in fairness, in Australia, the movie wasn't at all our cinemas because we're not giant anime fans and not supporting it in every cinema. So maybe if you didn't get to go see it, your access to it might have been cut. So watching it episode by episode might not be the worst. But yeah, I'm still with you though. Like I'm like, the movie was great.
Don't get me. It was great, but like,
if you're going to condense an entire arc into an hour and a half, although actually, no, I think Mugen Train might have actually been 2 hours. It was well done. It didn't feel rushed. Like it felt like they nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just pick one or the other. Don't fuck me around with both.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I gotcha. I reckon that's probably it, even though poor Justin, I feel like, hasn't talked much in this episode.
It's because he hasn't watched 683 animes this week.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, he did it last week. He didn't do it this week, and I'm so sorry, Basement Dwellers, that Justin let you down.
Yep,
I promise
definitely let you down. It's not all the D&D content you'll be enjoying as I speak.
That's all right. He's smashing it. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about some more stuff next episode because Justin's been smashing the shit out of solo leveling, and by next episode, Jace is gonna have smashed quite a bit of it.
You fucking what?
Yeah. So
I told you I was waiting on the anime.
Thank you all so much. You already know what socials to follow us on. We appreciate you all. Much love.
Say bye, Bolin.
See you.